Hello everyone and welcome to review for episode 1 of the Book of Boba Fett. So, here we are in a continuation of my Mandalorian episode reviews that I started last year. We are here now talking about the Book of Boba Fett, a spin-off of a spin-off. Which is funny to think about because The Mandalorian is a spin-off of Star Wars, the franchise as a whole, and the Book of Boba Fett is a spin-off of The Mandalorian. It even has the same episodic format and the way they present it and everything. So it's a spin-off of a spin-off, which is just kind of funny to think about. So which is ironic because it's like, well, maybe the Book of Boba Fett is a copy of a copy of a copy, to quote Republic Commando Scorch talking about clones. Well, maybe he's a copy of a copy of a copy. So yeah, episode 1 of the Book of Boba Fett, A Stranger in a Strange Land. Very, very sci-fi title. Very Western. I'm pretty sure it's even based, I think that's even the title of some sort of sci-fi book or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, so right off the bat, they're not really pulling any punches. They're not keeping us waiting, keeping us in suspense or anything. It's like, hey, you guys remember that one time back in 1983 when Return of the Jedi came out and Boba Fett fell into the Sarlacc Pit and he was dead, and that was that. Well, guess what? He survived, which we've known that for decades in one form or another. That's been, I feel like, everyone's like, yeah, no way Boba Fett's dead. And, it's like the EU did stuff with him and everything, but and then the EU went away. And so now it's like, well, is he back in canon? The Aftermath trilogy dealt a little bit with that, with the introduction of Cobb Vanth and the fact that the armor was scavenged by Jawas. Does that mean Boba Fett survived? Who knows? Then it's really officially confirmed last year with The Mandalorian Season 2. But, they didn't keep us waiting. They're like, okay, we know you guys want to see it, so here you go. Here's Boba Fett escaping from the Sarlacc. And honestly, I'm a little underwhelmed. It's like, I think there's some versions where he manages to, because that's the thing, is that there's also different versions of how he escapes from the Sarlacc in the EU, I'm pretty sure. There's one where he manages to carve his way out, kind of like what he does in canon. Then there's another where he just straight up jetpacks out again because he manages to fix the damage to his jetpack and use it to get out. Something like that. And then, yeah, here he just kind of torches away out of the Sarlacc's digestive system and into the sand, and he crawls out, and that's kind of that. So a teensy bit underwhelming, but I mean, I have never been in the digestive tract of a giant pit monster in a desert with two suns bearing down on me. So, that's and the fact that he actually managed to do that without a working jetpack is also just impressive enough, and just a testament to how tough this guy is in general. So who am I to say that it's underwhelming? But it is really fun. People are making the comparisons to Patton Oswalt's filibuster from that one episode of Parks and Recreation, where he gives his little pitch for what he thinks episode 7 should be, because this was before episode 7 was a thing, and before it had come out, it had been announced, but it wasn't out yet. And he said, we open on the two suns of Tatooine, and it pans down, and we see the armored gauntlet of Boba Fett reach out of the sand, and he survives the Sarlacc, and that's pretty much shot for shot, word for word, what happens in this first episode. So yeah, that's kind of funny. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Knowing Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, it's very possible it could be intentional. Well, that's more a Jon Favreau thing than a Filoni thing, but it could be intentional. Who knows? But so yeah, I kind of appreciated that. They're like, they're not wasting time. It's like, yeah, here's how he got out of the Sarlacc, and he's basically immediately assaulted by Jawas. I actually laughed out loud. It was pretty funny because Boba Fett, the Boba Fett, gets knocked out by a Jawa. It's just kind of funny. It's like, oh, how far the mighty have fallen. The best bounty hunter in the galaxy is no match for one little tap on the noggin from a 2-foot tall Jawa. I just thought that was a little humorous. It really shows, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of how far the mighty have fallen, So And so then after that, of course, he is taken in by the Tusken Raiders. Well, I say taken in. That sounds like, the Tuskens were helping him out, when the Tuskens more or less just kind of are holding him captive until the end of the episode. So yeah, it seems like half of the show is going to be flashback, half of it is going to be in quote-unquote present day, but, how much is present day when you're dealing with a galaxy from a long time ago, far, far away? The wording was a little off there, but whatever. So, is the entire franchise a flashback? Question mark. So it's a flashback within a flashback within a flashback. So that's interesting. I didn't think that they would completely deal with that. I thought we'd get like one decent length flashback, and then it's all quote unquote present day stuff from here on out. Following Boba and Fennec Shand, but it seems like it's going to be kind of split in half. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm interested in that. I don't, it's and who knows? Maybe it won't do that every episode. Maybe the first 3 or 4 episodes will be like that, and then we'll get caught up. And then after that, it'll all because then like we end the flashback, and then we see the end of the flashback, and that lines up with something that's happening in present time, and that's the whoa, that's a big whoa moment or something like that. And then it's like, oh, you gotta wait till next week for the last 3 episodes, just to see what happens or something like that. So who knows? But yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. I love Temuera Morrison. He's always been great. In whatever role he's playing in Star Wars, whether it be Jango or Boba or a clone trooper, one of the various clone troopers. And it's interesting because for a while there, I thought that he didn't care, just based on like some of just the like. I think his performance in Republic Commando is good, but it's very stoic. And there for a little while, I was kind of going to myself, is he actually trying here? Because I don't actually, because it's so kind of, Boss in Republic Commando is so very stoic that I'm kind of like, I don't know if he's actually trying here, or if maybe that was just the direction. I've since come to the conclusion that it's definitely the direction. They wanted Boss to be very stoic, very much close to Jango in that respect. And because that's just what the characterization was that they wanted, because you can't have Boss be funny when Scorch is also the funny guy, and you can't have him also be too stoic because Sev is this really, really, stoic person, and etc. So I think that was just the voice direction. But then like after 2005, he didn't really do anything Star Wars related. I think his first time being back was Mando Season 2. I think so, because anytime Boba showed up, anytime a clone trooper showed up from 2008 onward, it was always D. Bradley Baker. I'm pretty sure. So him not coming back to do Boba or clones for this or that kind of gave me the feeling for a while there that he just didn't really care. And I'm like, he's an actor. They do different things. So, they can't maybe always devote their time to what in their minds is a small part or whatever. But since then, it's definitely clear that he definitely cares about the character of Boba Fett. The Fetts in general, the clones, Jango, Boba, anyone related to that aspect of the character that he played. Seeing him talk at Star Wars celebrations and stuff really helped change my mind on that, thankfully. And it's like, yeah, he really cares. I think the reason they didn't have him do the clones on, say, Clone Wars is just because he's from New Zealand. I think he still spends a lot of time in New Zealand. So it would have been, at the time they were originally producing Clone Wars, back in like 2006, 2007, when they were first starting the show and casting and doing early recordings and getting those first episodes done, and then deciding the first episodes are going to be a movie and everything in the early days of Clone Wars. I think at that time it probably would have been too expensive for them. Now, once they had that Disney money, they probably could have done it, but then they got canceled. Then they came back for that final season. But at the same time, it's like, well, but we also got D. Bradley Baker, and he's amazing. So I think no, hold on. Going back to it's his first on-screen reprisal of Boba Fett, or of a Fett character, with Mando Season 2, but he did voice Boba in Battlefront 2015 and Battlefront 2 2017. I'd forgotten about that, but again, that's such a small thing that, because it's just a hero character that you don't see all that often. So I had forgotten about that. And I know for a fact D. Bradley Baker was Boba in The Force Unleashed 2 and Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures, and I think Star Tours at Disneyland/World. So yeah, for a while there I thought that Temuera didn't care, but that seems to be the exact opposite case. So the fact that he cares so much about this character and that they're letting him do it again, I'm really happy about. And it's, oh, man, him in this, I mean, I think Boba definitely is going to have more layers now than he has had previously. It's kind of like, because, man, Dave Filoni and his team that he assembles, and that includes Jon Favreau and everyone, they just really know how to, I've said this before on like all, with my Mando Season 2 reviews, my Bad Batch reviews, I mean, they just really know how to tell a good story with well-developed characters. Because by the end of this show, Boba Fett is probably going to be up there with like Darth Maul in terms of characters that are like the most developed characters in all of Star Wars, and Anakin Skywalker and stuff like that. Just because of the amount of screen time that they have had in what most would consider to be supplemental media, like TV shows or books or video games, etc. Where you start off with young Boba in Attack the Clones, and you get him in Clone Wars a little bit, and then you get some of him in the comics, and then you get him in Mando Season 2, and now the Book of Boba Fett. I think Boba's going to end up being like one of the great Star Wars characters, and kind of rightfully so, because he's been this big icon for decades. Everyone's like, I don't think, does anyone like hate Boba Fett? I think there's people out there that definitely go, yeah, I've never gotten to the Boba Fett craze. But I don't think there's anyone out there that like hates Boba Fett. So the fact that Boba Fett is maybe going to finally be a cultural icon and have the character to back up his cultural iconicness, I think that's really cool. I think that's just really, really awesome. And hey, good for you, Temuera Morrison. You deserve it. So I'm very excited to see where the series is going to go. So yeah. So overall, I don't really have too much to say about the first episode because it's a first episode. It was good. You know, at this point, I think people are just going to always complain about this. So I saw some people online saying, I didn't like this. It was too slow. Nothing happened. It's like, it's the first episode, people. Come on. Some people at this point are just so used to the binge it all in an afternoon or a weekend or something like that, and I admit this episode moved a little slow, but I think that's deliberate pacing. But I would say that the episode moved a little slow, but I would not say that nothing happened. It's like we're just getting started. I think some people are just going to always be that way since Netflix has been a thing and you can binge an entire season of something in a weekend. So I don't necessarily concur that nothing happened. The pacing was a little slow, yes, because it's being split up with the flashbacks and everything. But I think that was purposeful, and I think that things are going to happen. It's not. It's like I think the same thing can. I think going back to Bad Batch for a second, I think you could definitely say that the Bad Batch had some slow pacing. And I think, and it's because I talked about this back in my reviews, but I think Bad Batch does have maybe some pacing issues now that we're several months removed. I'm going to render a final verdict on that when we get Season 2 and maybe Season 3, if there's a Season 3, I don't know. Because Bad Batch could definitely be one of those shows that just has 2 seasons and it's done. I think that'd be fine. So, depending on how Season 2 leaves off and if we get another season or not, then I'll say if the show had bad pacing or not. But it's, when your story is not done, I don't think it's necessarily fair to judge wholly. Based on what you have so far, sure, maybe, but not wholly. So, the same can definitely be said for Book of Boba Fett. One episode in, nothing happened. This is boring. It's like, it's the first episode. Just be patient. That's the biggest problem with people nowadays, I think, is no one has any patience for anything, and it just irritates me. So yeah, I am very interested to see how this moves forward. Loved Ming-Na win in the episode. Fennec Shand, really digging her. Always good to see an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. alum at this point. It's like Hollywood's just been sleeping on Ming-Na win. She's just not in a whole lot that I'm totally aware of, and it's like, why is that? I'm glad that she's kind of getting her due with Marvel and Star Wars stuff here now. Good for her. So, Yeah, and then there's other kind of small characters that we met in this episode that we don't really know too much of yet. So I'll save my talks for them later when they become more important in like the next couple episodes. So yeah, Book of Boba Fett. I'm excited. I'm glad it's here. And that main theme, man. Ooh, that main theme. I am very excited to hear more of the music from this show because, man, Star Wars music never disappoints. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes, and I will see you guys next time, which will be next Friday, because since the episodes drop on Wednesdays, then I'll have my reviews up on Fridays. So instead of Mando Mondays, we will get Fett Fridays here. So that'll be fun. So hey, you have that to look forward to over the next however many weeks this show runs. So yeah, that'll be it for this review. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time for another review of the Book of Boba Fett. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.